stripes in bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we rode were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rocked the most blasting gave proof to that night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the and the home of brave. And any moment now, we are going to see Bob and Doug walking out. We're looking at the pad right now, but you guys, that just gave me chills listening to that. And we saw them getting into the elevator, so they're making their way down to the first floor where they're going to be walking out of those doors any moment now.
It's so exciting to think, back in 11 years ago when I was going down that elevator and about to walk out those doors, it just brings back these memories of getting human beings to space, working together as a team, and having this entire community around you helping you get off the planet.
Yeah, and Leland, I know you have a really cool memory about somebody special that you saw when you walked out of those doors.
Oh my goodness, Marie, when I walked out of those doors, my chemistry teacher was right there from high school who inspired me to be a scientist. And she said, "Go Leland." And that's what's going to happen when they come. These people that, their families are going to be there. Wish other people could be there, but it's just an amazing moment.
Yeah, and the shot you just saw there with people carefully spaced apart, we saw them walk out right before the anthem started. It was Vice President Mike Pence along with Elon Musk and Jim Bridenstine. Of course, they left the building just ahead of the crew, so they are standing, we're looking now at the doors, but they're standing just right of that, across from the Teslas. There's also a designated spot for Doug and Bob's immediate families. There's that shot now, so we're looking at the back of Elon Musk, Jim Bridenstine, and Vice President Mike Pence. Of course, there's a small group of media there also, and so we've kind of blocked this very carefully to maintain social distancing and those that can't have the masks on. But there's the Teslas waiting for them. They got the meatball. There's the worm in the background and the worm on the back of the Teslas. So, Leland, I know we were talking about this earlier. You had some mixed feelings about the worm, right?
I mean, the worm, the meatball, when I was at Master Langley, we changed over to the meatball from the worm. So, Lauren, I know you love the worm. It's
worm all day.
All day, really?
All day.
Seriously?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I love that the worm is so retro, and it's only fitting that it will be making its way back. Bringing the historic, just opulence of NASA's past to the present.
I'll let you have that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But the chevron and the meatball goes back to Langley's tradition when it was, aviation, and that gets back to that heritage and that history too. So
I guess, sure. Okay, truce?
Orbits.
Or truce?
I feel like I see a microcosm of what's happening online about the worm. But the meatball's not going away. It's a worm meatball partnership.
There we go.
So there's another view there of the crosswalk. There is where Bob and Doug are going to walk out any moment. Of course, they're going to get their photo taken by all the paparazzi there. And we're just standing by for them to walk out. I'm going to check the time, actually, 1:13. So if they walk out any minute now, they're going to be right on schedule to start their final goodbyes and waving to folks. And I'm sure they're going to pause for a photo op. But this is just really amazing. Haven't seen this site since 2011 with STS-135. Of course, Doug Hurley was the pilot on that mission. So this is a really incredible moment.
Yeah, and one of the crewmates that was with him was Rex Wallen that we're going to talk to later, and we have. Oh, here they come.
Here they are.
Here they come, NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley. They've each made this journey twice before for the space shuttle missions, but they've never done this in a SpaceX spacesuit. They've never done this together, and they've never done this on their way to head to a commercially built rocket and spacecraft to head to space.
But when I was looking for an Astro van and I see these white Teslas with meatballs and worms on them, it's just a new era in space travel.
Oh yeah, they're riding in Tesla Model X's. They've been equipped with cooling units, so once they sit inside, that umbilical that I was referring to earlier will connect to the spacesuits, provide cooling while they're inside of the vehicle.
And you can see them talking and waving with their families now. We just saw them do a virtual hug with their sons.
There's Megan and Karen and their sons, yeah.
The dads, yeah.
So awesome.
Bob blowing his family a kiss. Doug actually got to take his wife and son up to the pad on the tower. Yesterday they tweeted out a photo. That was so cool.
I saw that picture and it had a prominent worm in the picture, right?
Yes.
Telling you, warm all day. So they're climbing through those DeLorean doors of the Model X. This is totally from the future.
Are they stock? Are they stock?
And then you see in the front seat there, that's our flight surgeon. He's climbing in, and the suit technicians, there's one Chris Trigg right there, number 12. He is buckling in. They're both, the two suit techs are buckling in, Bob and Doug, and they're connecting that umbilical.
And Lauren, I know you mentioned this earlier, but for folks that maybe weren't watching then or can't remember, I mean, we're in Florida. It's super hot, super muggy. So how are they staying cool?
There are these portable cooling units. We have one at the ONC building, or sorry, two at the ONC building. There are two in the Teslas. There'll be two in the elevators, and then two in the white room when they arrive on the crew arm. So we're just keeping the cool air flowing through the suits. There's actually ducting integrated into the suits to keep them cool. And you can see they're saying goodbye to their families. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. That their families get to come up to the window and obviously get a little closer than everybody else.
There's Megan, her son, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
These are precious moments. This is what it's all about, as I mentioned before. It's about the people, it's about the families, and working together as one community to get Doug and Bob launching off to the cosmos, to the space station.
Yeah, it's emotional. It's emotional watching that.
It really is. Here we go.
Now, as we see the convoy begin the journey to the pad 39A, we are thinking about each and every one of you, our colleagues and friends at SpaceX and NASA, who have had a hand in seeing the Crew Dragon commercial crew program come to life.
And we wish every single one of you could be here up close to see this, but we want you to be a part of this journey regardless of where you are watching today. And so for the next few minutes, while they're making their way to the pad, we want to highlight those people whose hands and words and thoughts built all that we see here today. And we hope all of you watching can feel that pride that each of these NASA and SpaceX team members has for today.
This is Laura Segura from the Commercial Crew Program. We're so excited about this historical day. Congratulations on being a part of the very first mission for human spaceflight, commercial human spaceflight ever. We're behind you, Bob and Doug.
I'm Nicole from SpaceX in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Congratulations to SpaceX for hitting another major milestone, and safe travels to Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug, as the launch vehicle chief engineer, we've got a lot of our launch vehicle team here to wish you a very wonderful safe ride on the Falcon 9. We're so excited for you. And launch America. It's time to launch. Let's go.
Hi, this is Perla from Hawthorne Headquarters. We want to wish Bob and Doug a safe trip to the International Space Station. Go Dragon!
It's been 9 years in the making. This is such a historic time, and our team has worked so hard, and we're very excited to be here. Go Bob and Doug!
Hi, this is Sam from McGregor, Texas. Go Bob and Doug, go NASA, and go SpaceX.
Sean Roach from the Space Center. Bob and Doug, wishing you a great flight. I just want to tell you good luck. Hi, I'm Justin Kamak, NASA Kennedy's Communications and Public Engagement Directorate, and we all want to wish Bob and Doug safe travels and Godspeed. You are both an inspiration to us all. Now, let's get out there and launch America. Let's do it!
And we are following the convoy, and Leland, Lauren, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so glad that we had a chance to hear from the NASA and SpaceX teams that have been working behind the scenes, because Lauren, I know you know this all too well. I mean, these people have been working not only for, the last, since 2014 when SpaceX won this contract, but I mean, working long hours, long reviews, coronavirus happened, and then they're homeschooling their kids, still trying to get through all the final checkouts and closeouts to get to today, and we made it. And now we're just waiting on the weather, but it's just great that they got a chance to wish Bob and Doug good luck.
Absolutely. It is a bummer that we can't all be here in person, but to have that opportunity with that wall of cheers is pretty cool. And you're right. I mean, it's been years of extremely hard work. Fortunately, we had little milestones along the way, like Demo 1 and IFA, the in-flight abort mission, but it was all leading up to this. And I speak for all of my friends and colleagues that are still working on this program. Today is a career just high for all of those people, if not the pinnacle of it.
Absolutely, and I know Doug and Bob appreciate them so much. And as they continue to make their way to the pad, the next astronauts to make this journey are also watching very closely. NASA astronauts Shannon Walker, Victor Glover, and Mike Hopkins, and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Soichi Noguchi will also be flying. They'll be in the Crew 1 mission a little later this year. Of course, that's after Bob and Doug return home. Now, Crew 1 will be the second space flight for Walker and Hopkins, who each flew on Russian Soyuz, and it will be the first space flight for Glover and the third space flight for Noguchi, who flew on both the Space Shuttle and the Soyuz previously. Now, the Crew 1 mission will be the first in a series of rotational flights to station after Demo 2, once NASA certifies the SpaceX systems for regular crew flights. And right now, Victor and Mike are following along from the Johnson Space Center in Houston, and they are standing by to talk to NASA's Daryl Nail. Daryl, are you? All right, I'm sorry, we don't have Daryl, but as we continue to follow the convoy, we've got actually a little chase car following the convoy. I think we're going to be actually talking to Victor and Mike from right here. Victor and Mike, are you there?
We are here.
All right, hi guys. I'm just going to ask you first. You're going to be two of the next people to get on board Crew Dragon. So, what are all your thoughts and feelings as you're watching Bob and Doug in the Tesla right now?
As you can imagine, there's a lot of emotions. Of course, we're excited for Bob and Doug, excited for NASA, excited for SpaceX, and really the whole country. A lot of pride in what it's taken to get to this moment, all the thousands of people that have contributed to getting to this moment. But then there's also a bit of sense of duty of business as usual. So for us, we're going to be watching, we're going to be listening, we're going to be learning, and all of that to help get us prepared for when it's our turn.
And your mission called Crew 1. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say it was also great to see them walk out just now and say goodbye to their families and do the virtual hugs. That was great. There are a lot of emotions, but that's probably the best one.
And Victor and Mike, I know recently you had Shannon Walker and Soichi Noguchi also assigned to the Crew 1 mission with you. What can you tell us about them and your relationship with them and your training so far with them?
Yeah, I'm very excited about Crew One. We've got a very experienced crew. You guys hit on that a little bit earlier. Of course, Shannon, she's been with NASA for around 30 years. She's been with the astronaut office for more than 15 years, and of course, Soyuz long duration. So she's seen a lot around here. Soichi, with Jackson, he's done it all. 1996, when he first became an astronaut, shuttle, space station, short duration, long duration, spacewalks, you name it. And so, we kind of late in the game here had our full crew complement, and so it's really helped getting them in with all of that experience. It's really streamlined the process for our becoming more cohesive as a crew.
Yeah, they really hit the ground running. We showed up to our first sims, and it felt like we had done it several times before. And so it's great because we do have a lot to get done. We not only have to learn to fly and to operate the Crew Dragon spacecraft that Bob and Doug are going to do later today, God willing. We also have to be ready to do all of the things that a crew on board the space station does: the spacewalks, the research, the basic upkeep of the space station. And so we also have all that training going on as well. And that's what we've been doing for the past several months together.
And now I have a specific question for Mike. I know that you've flown on the Russian Soyuz, and not specifically on Space Shuttle, but can you talk about the tradition of the ride out that we're seeing now?
Yeah, the ride out, it's very symbolic. It's symbolic of that transition, the transition from months, years of preparation to the actual execution of the mission itself. And so for the astronauts, for Bob and Doug right now, it gives them an opportunity to reflect on all of the work that it took to get to this moment. But then it also gives them time to focus on the job, to really mentally prepare for game day. And then when you think about DM2 and this particular mission, that's this symbolic of this transition from almost 9 years where we have not had human launch capability in the U.S. to a new age of government and private partnerships that are going to be launching humans into low Earth orbit and beyond. And that's happening right here from the United States of America.
And a question for Victor, because I know, if all goes well, when you fly on Crew One a little later this year, it's going to be your first trip to space. Can you put yourself in the seat right now, in the car with Bob and Doug? I mean, walk me through what that's going to feel like for you, knowing you're headed to the launch pad, you're going to be launching into space for the very first time.
It'll be tough or it is tough now to imagine what those feelings are going to be like. We were able to simulate that and run through